Thursday, August 14th, 2025, 6:01 p.m. 42 seconds on the second hand. Well, I finally met my favorite. Well, I met my coworkers. I met my favorite coworker. That'd be prop bet guy. Prop bet guy. That dude really knows how to. Because I met his family. Yeah, he had me over for dinner with his wife and his children, and this is what they kind of do at Sportsline and CBS Sports HQ. At least that's what I think I can bring to the table in terms of trying to like provide a good addition to the workplace environment. But he had me over with his wife and kids, and we were watching the games. And I was going through one of his games there, and I asked him about it. This was just the other night. Prop bet guy. He's a coworker of mine. And what I'm going to try to pull up the dates here to make sure I'm not giving out any false information. It was a baseball game, obvi. Yep. So a lot of guys were on this game. This was Thursday, August 7th. And it was the Miami Marlins at the Atlanta Braves. And 5 expert picks here. Not 6, unfortunately. Not yet. Bob Konarski. And I'm not going to talk. Yeah, I'm not going to talk about, but these guys are all basically talking about the starting pitching matchups and how the Miami Marlins starting pitcher has been very hot lately. Better current form than the last time he faced Atlanta. 4-1 with a 1.64 ERA, which is pretty good. And the other guy is only his second start. So I probably wouldn't have even touched this game because this guy second start, but has allowed second start for the Braves, but has allowed 3 runs or more in 6 of his 9 starts this season. Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, they're just, it's like pulling shit out of left field. Matt Severance, Miami, +1. All risking 1 unit, even though the odds are all changed, which is, you're not going to, that just means you're going to win less than 1 unit on every bet if it wins and hits. So Miami +1 on the run line for the full game. Not recommended if you were to ever do this, in my my personal opinion. Professional. I was about to say professional opinion. My personal opinion. I wouldn't touch any MLB game, any MLB full games ever. That's what's really fun about these guys. They really like to talk up a starting pitcher who's really hot in a lot of his last starts, which is true. And then the other starting pitcher who has been abysmal lately, they really like to mention that, but they're not doing any first 5 inning bets on CBS Sports HQ and Sportsline. That's why they were picked. Because when you talk about the starting pitchers and you're actually thinking with your head and you're not close-minded buffoon who's a know-it-all adrenaline trap inserter into people's realities. Then you're going to put out bets for the first 5 innings, because you can do that in the MLB, and it's actually a lot more if you're gonna do this kind of thing, which I would never recommend because of the previous rule changes and the inconsistent, ever-changing strike zone. The only time in the future that I would ever consider spending my time and mental, exertion on watching baseball ever again would be if they implement the electronic strike zone, because then we could get some consistency around here, and we could start winning some bets more often. I am here to tell you that the previous 2 episodes, 168 and 169, are, still up, but the NFL live betting concept is dead in the water as well. The MLB is dead completely, the NFL is dead completely, and the NHL is dead completely in any and all aspects, shapes, and forms. The NFL, I wanna continue on here quickly. But, prop bet guy. DraftKings. Still feels weird betting the Marlins as road favorites in Atlanta. Then don't. But that's how this season has unfolded. The Marlins are hot, winning 12 of 18 games since the All-Star break, despite facing a gauntlet of a schedule. Their starting pitcher for this matchup has looked the part of a budding ace, pitching to a 1.06 ERA over his last 6 starts. On the flip side, the Atlanta Braves starting pitcher in this matchup has pitched to a 5.68 ERA in the majors this season. Notice how he talks about his ERA in the majors this entire season for the Braves starting pitcher, but not the Marlins starting pitcher. Picked. It's a pretty bad ERA, too. I mean, it doesn't really matter because, I mean, it does kind of matter because, what is the other guy's ERA for the entire season? Why are you leaving that statistic out? Picked. And no, I'm not talking about a turnover in football in terms of the interception, which is a big reason why the NFL is off limits, by the way. Because that live betting concept of that, even when you look at the 55-1, a couple of those could have been losses, and those are really, 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 they juice these they juice a 1 touchdown lead with 10 minutes left in the third quarter way more than they should. At least that's what I witnessed in week 1 of the preseason in the NFL. A lot of juiced up, even 3-point leads. I mean, the Cardinals it was at halftime, but that's against the Chiefs. It was minus 180 when they were up by 3. But the Chiefs had, I mean, whatever. That one is pretty insane. But when you're the Chiefs, you are running back your entire roster pretty much, and all of them are Super Bowl multiple Super Bowl champions. So that's a championship roster thick and through. But they really value a lot of, but when it comes to turnovers, like a pick 6, which is completely not correlated at all to these people being picked. The Braves will still be without both this guy and are 5-13 out of the break as is. But when you're talking about how bad a starting pitcher is and how good the other one is, most reasonable human beings who know this sport, and I'm going to shout out Bubba Gumpino from Hammer Down for a minute because he, I haven't watched their podcast in a long time, but I know 6 years ago when I would hide in the stairwell and hit my e-cig while I would log on to my illegal gambling sports books, and do Bubblegum Pino's bets before the end of the workday. So this is why I'm shouting him out, because he would always do first 5 inning run line bets and money line bets and even the totals. But I wouldn't touch any of that stuff. I mean, the totals are insane. It's because of the rule changes, the bases, and all that kind of stuff. The foul. I just wouldn't. And when you look at the figures for the 80, 90, and 100 point live betting concepts that I've released for the NBA, which is the only thing that's bettable in my opinion, my personal opinion from here on out, because of the juice, because of OJ. But all of these guys are on the Miami Marlins full game money line or run line. But they're all talking about the 2 starting pitchers who are not going to go more than 6 innings. And when you scroll through, go through every single one of these games. You can go through every game from every day, and you can see that not a single one of these MLB experts put out any first 5 MLB bets ever. Ever. But these are my coworkers, so I'm just... When I say that, I'm just kidding. I'm doing a bit. All jokes aside, I'm obviously joking about selling bets on X.com, on CBS Sports HQ and Sportsline. I think that would be so laughable. I mean, it's just so hilarious. I mean, all this entire situation is one of the most funniest things of all time. That these professionals are clearly, I mean, not a single one of these bets that they put out is first 5 innings at all, ever. It's really kind of telling. It's obviously for a reason, because, well, they know everything. So most of these people are the kind of people that are very dead set in their ways when it comes to certain things like this, or breaking their routine, or simply just not getting paid by you. You're their profit. Do you realize this? This is why I can't do this bit anymore. I can't pretend like I'm working with Prop Bet Guy on a collab that we're going to drop on X.com because Sportsline will let him give out a free bet. Pluto TV, CBS Sports HQ, is the only ESPN, like it's like an ESPN Sports Center counterpart. It's on Pluto TV. It's on all the free streaming platforms. But it's basically, they just sell bets on there, and every person they have on there is an expert who only is obsessed with the fact that they're right about everything. Every expert they have on is there to talk about what to put money on. But all the good bets are the ones that they sell. Otherwise, they wouldn't be selling them. But none of them are... None of them are selling what I have figured out. And here's why this NBA live betting concept... Actually, you know what? When I think about it, I actually do hope that his children are my coworkers soon. And no, I'm not talking about babysitting and daycare. Anyways, it's just when it comes to the NBA and the 80, 90, 100 point live betting concepts. And I'm not gonna, when it comes to the NFL, I was watching the NFL games and I was watching those preseason, week 1 preseason games, and They got minus 5,000, minus 4,000 on a game where it doesn't really seem like it should be a minus 4,000 favorite on the money line. And it's like a 9-point game or whatever it is. I can't remember the exact example. I'll pull up my phone right now, actually. It's actually kind of hilarious that you can talk about starting pitching matchups so much and never put out a single first 5-inning bet ever. That you're selling people. I mean, literally, you're their profit. They don't have. This is what I actually told him. Yeah, god damn it, whatever. I botched the bit. Who gives a fuck? When I was sitting there eating dinner with your wife, I told her what I did. Yeah, no, that's where I was going to go. I was going to scream. But literally, if you go through and you look at, this is what I would do if they implemented an electronic strike zone. This is what I would do for only first 5-inning bets. You go through both of these starting pitchers, and instead of doing the full game money line like a fucking dipshit dude who was picked, you go to the first 5 innings, which I don't recommend doing any of this, and I might actually not even talk about this until they implement an electronic strike zone, because I don't really think you should waste your time on it. I'm not going to watch baseball, the MLB or any form of baseball or softball. I'm not going to watch any form of hockey or football ever again. They're all dead to me. The NBA is damn near foolproof, and the other 3 are dead to me. The other 3 are dead because, the reasons previously explained, but because sitting there watching some of these NFL preseason live moneyline odds, I don't really know how some of these teams can be such big favorites when so many backups are in, and so many backups are playing their first NFL snaps of all time coming from college. And when you're trying to assess the lines and you're setting lines as a sports book beforehand, and you're setting totals and spreads and money lines, how are you able to accurately assess what the lines should be set at, even if you know and have watched every single second of film of all time on every single player who's playing in the game? You don't know what their class schedule was in college. You don't know what classes they had, what days a week they had classes, how many courses they were taking, what their mindset was on this day compared to this day when they're in this town because they actually have a course they gotta fucking take. It's not very consistently reliable in terms of setting lines for college basketball games. Greg Peterson, you don't know what any of these children are doing. They're in school, dude. How do you know what the fuck to even put the spread at? You don't know what any of these kids are doing during the day. They're not sitting on a fucking plane going to Los Angeles to play the Kings. Oh, I'm sorry. That's right. My bad. It's because because you've watched every little piece of film and you know it all. I forget that there's people like that out in the world who know it all and know it all because they've been knowing it all for decades. So they know what the line should be. So whenever they see a line that doesn't look right, they're going to let you know when you should put money on the opposite side, which is a really fun way to go about life. Instead of doing that to you, I would just do the NBA live betting concepts every time, because I've gone through every single one of these games and I've looked at somehow, some way, and I'll explain to you how. Oh yeah, what's the matter, babies? What's the matter? What's the matter? What's the matter, babies? You mad that I'm yelling? Oh, you're fine. You're fine. Yes, you're fine. Who's the mamas? Who's my mamas? Who's my mamas? Oh, who's the big girl? Yes, 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 yes. Oh, it's the mamas. Oh, yes. I'm not saying that knowledge is the issue here, but when you're literally going through every game and you don't know who's going to play because the game's in a day and you're not the the manager of the baseball team, so you don't even know what the lineups are going to be yet. The games are in 20 hours. You don't know who's going to be relief pitching. You do because you've watched. There's no possible way for you to watch every single second of every single piece of film. So, do you really know how every single starting relief and closing pitcher has done in every single game and every single moment leading up to the moment where you're handicapping and giving out advice, which would be every night? So, how do you know who's going to play tomorrow and pitch tomorrow? And why are you setting the lines when you don't know these things? That would be the know-it-all adrenaline trap. If you want to go for a ride down that life, go for it. It's kind of nuts because when you look at and I don't really know how you can watch these basketball NBA games and the NHL games. Like all of my previous coworkers at Sportsline and CBS Sports HQ, and not see that because they show when the third periods start for a lot of these games, they show it for every single game that where the third period starts and it's on ESPN and there's a team leading. It'll show the team that's leading. It'll show their record on the year when they're winning at the third when the third period starts right after the second intermission, and it'll show the other team's record when they are losing at the beginning of the third period, which is the end of the second intermission. It'll show the records at the top, and it does this for almost every ESPN game. I don't know how you can watch all of these games as experts and watch them and not do the math on some of those numbers. It truly baffles me. It's actually the most irresponsible and closed-minded, retarded fucking. It's honest. I don't understand. It's actually pissing me off. And the little children agree with me. That was the bit. I was going to be screaming at his wife and his children for like 30 minutes about units and keeping track of each team's run line when they're a favorite on the run line in the first five versus when they're an underdog. And this is what I was going to talk about. And I actually did the math for each of these starting pitchers on their profit for this regular season. And I was actually going to talk about that. And I figured, you know what? No, I'm not going to do that. That's why I botched the bit subliminally, because my brain was like, no, I'm not even going to talk about that because people might actually do that in the future before they implement the electronic strike zone. And I think that would be the stupidest fucking thing of all goddamn time. If you're trying to fucking waste your goddamn time and just piss away money and time and resources because fucking umpires can do whatever the fuck they want with the strike zone, you're fucking retarded. Fuck you. Yeah, food's really good, Daddy. The kids are just so used to screaming. I'm just screaming the whole time at dinner, throwing things, and the kids just look up. Baked ziti is really good tonight, Dad. I really liked it better last week. Just so comfortable in chaos. But that's why you were picked. Prop bet guy, all of you guys. You're a fucking asshole. Fucking kill yourself. Elon Musk shut down my X account, my X profile, because I told somebody to kill himself. I'm just spamming all these people in my podcast episode, Xfinity =, because I think it's a pretty big deal considering it is. It is actually the biggest deal for gambling in all of human history in the past, present, or future, is what I believe. Specifically the NBA now. I'm going to leave those figures up on Xfinity =, all of the NBA, the NHL, and the NFL figures for those live betting concepts, because but I don't recommend doing the NFL or the NHL ones ever, only the NBA. And you don't even need me to sell you the information, because you can just do every time somebody scores 80 points first, 90 points first, 100 points first in the game, you just live bet the full game money line for that team to win the game. And if you go through and look at all the figures and the profit, that's the profit. So you could literally do that for every single game in the NBA season for the rest of eternity. You wouldn't need me to sell you any information. You just look at that graph, those numbers and those figures, and you would know that's what you need to do to be the most consistently profitable long-term gambler of all time. That plus the NBA's playoff series betting when they're up 3-0, and you're basically just making all of your possible loss on some of these teams back with those units. So anytime a team is winning 3-0 in the NBA, they have never lost a series when they're winning 3-0. So what you do when they're up 3-0 is you put whatever amount it is, the juice. It's probably going to be like 20 units to win one. 20 units to win one. When they're up 3-0, just bet on them to win the series. And even if they lose game 4 and they're up 3-1, the juice is probably going to be closer to like 8 units. Nah, probably closer to 10, maybe 12. Between 8 and 12 for them to win the series when they're up 3-1. So you just do 12 units to win 1. You're risking 32 units to win 2 here, but it's undefeated. These bets are undefeated in NBA playoff history. Undefeated. So what if they lose game 5 and they're still winning 3-2 in the series? What do you do then? What's the juice at then? It's probably like 400 or 500, give or take. With it, it's all circumstantial depending on everything. Injuries, even with injuries, these teams are, when they're up 3-0, are undefeated when in terms of winning the series. Even when it comes to injuries, when there's a 15-man roster. So which sport is the most consistently profitable long-term out of the 4 major sports, people? Tell people about my podcast, you fucking asshole retards. Kill yourselves. Fuck you. You would then bet on them to win the series at, minus 500 or whatever. That's what the Pacers were at against the Knicks when they were up 3-2. Something like that. I can't remember I think it was minus 400 or something, or 3. But you do that, and then what if they lose to game 6 and it's 3-3? You do it again. So you're risking like 37, 38 units to win 4, but you'd have 4 units. If you did this every single time, I believe you'd have over 300 extra units. If you did this in every single NBA playoff series that's happened so far, if you did this, you'd have, I believe, I don't know the exact number because it's at least 159, but every time there's another game lost, you're just adding a unit. And what if you're thinking, oh, what if I don't want to risk that many units to win only 4? What if I would rather just risk 1 unit? Let's say they're up 3-0, like in the previous scenario, and they're up 3-0, and it's 20 units to win 1. What if you want to bet on that same game, but you just want to bet 1 unit? You would only be winning 1/20th of a unit if that bet were to hit. If you were to only risk 1 unit versus risking 20, you would win 5% of a unit. But you can always change your unit amount. So you can really do either one. You can risk 20 units to win 1, or you can risk 1 unit to win 5% of a unit, and you can change your unit amount. Either way, you're going to come out the same volume of profit, because all these bets are still just as likely to hit. You're just risking a different unit amount, but you can always change the unit amount as well. I just, um, I just did that live betting system, like, to win 1 unit because, I just believe that that's the system you can always do it risking 1 unit, like my previous coworkers, not the children. Those are the ones in the future that are gonna be my coworkers in the future, hopefully. Fingers crossed. Prayers up. Amen. Please, God. Lord, please, I beg you. Amen. Hold on, I'm getting a phone call. Hello? Um, yeah. Okay. Sounds good. When do you think that would be? Oh, really? Well, what about can I take an expired jambalaya and a fresh gumbo? How about that? Okay, that's better. All right. Thank you. Bye-bye. Yep, I know. I already yep. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, literally. But so if we're talking about people who get paid a lot of money by the people, I think I could be a pretty good babysitter. I have free time in the summer. My off season is the summer now, essentially. So, but really, I'm probably gonna take a job in the off season just because I'm so addicted to online blackjack. And the reason why I'm so addicted is because I think the number's 15. Believe it or not, I think it's actually 15. They don't really stack the deck online either. So if you combine those two things, that's a winning formula to success. Oh, also another thing, if you're gonna do the card grading, I would I would grade cards worth more than the cost per card, shipping and handling, and the PSA, etc. membership worth. So whatever the membership is worth, which is like 200 a year or something like that, which is really not that much. And then the cost per card, which is like I think it's like $20 to get one card graded. If you do them in bulk, it's that cheap, I believe. So $20 plus the shipping, so it's like 5, maybe 10 when if you don't use their vault or you use a different company. So like 25, probably $30. You want a card that's worth like $30. Otherwise, you really just shouldn't grade it at all. And I mean worth 30 when it's graded afterwards. Yeah. So back to the NBA live betting concepts, which are going to be the only thing that I put out. I mean, I don't even have to really put them out, to be honest. It's kind of insane. And want to know why? It's because there's so many points scored in the NBA that an 8-point lead on the live money line, depending on the matchup and the time left in the game, the an 8-point lead is probably going to be anywhere from minus 400 to minus 1,000, maybe even a little bit. I mean, not much more. You see? even in the NFL, which is out of the 4 major sports, the NFL has the second most amount of points scored. The NHL would be the least. The MLB being the second least. I mean, yeah. And the NFL being the third least amount of points scored. And when it comes to possessions in the NFL, there's only so many amount of possessions in time remaining in the game, especially when a team reaches 17 points. And these sports books value when you reach 20 points, it's a lot more. It's way more big of a deal. It's a huge fucking deal on the live lines, the live money line. That is. You want to know why that is? That means I'll tell you why. It's because that means either there's been a total of 6 total possessions, and one team has scored. Oh, well, no, that doesn't mean there's at least 6 amount of possessions. That doesn't mean that, because there could have been a turnover. But even if it hasn't been 6 possessions, that means that there's been either 3 touchdowns scored by one team or 2 touchdowns and 2 field goals. So that means that there's a significant amount of time that has passed just in not even in theory and in fact, when the teams have reached this point, and when the other team has the ball. And I mean, obviously, this is all circumstantial between every game, obviously, but even when there's a 10-point lead, I think that they're juicing some of these money line leads up because they are not able to do it in the NBA. It has nothing to do with the amount of money coming in, like episode 96, where I talk about public line percentages and public money movement. That's referring to lines set before the game, which I won't be dealing with ever again because I'm not a know-it-all adrenaline trap inserter. I'm not going to sit here for decades and be like, no, this line should actually be there. So I would go the opposite. Such a fucking crazy dickhead move. To do for decades. When I was watching the playoffs, the Clippers and the Nuggets game, I saw a statistic at the end of the game in the playoffs. It said teams who score 100 points first in the playoffs this season, which was this was just a couple months ago, were 25-2 when scoring 100 points first. To a sports bettor, those kind of numbers are like, it's like hitting the jackpot. And when it comes to the NBA, anybody who knows anything about the NBA or basketball and knows anything about basketball and gambling on sports knows that when you score 100 points first, depending on the amount of lead that you have, the amount of points, the lead that you have, if it's 8 points or 4 points or even 16 points, if there's 10 minutes left, which doesn't really happen that much in a playoff game because there's way better defense. Shockingly, I'm not even going to talk about the abysmal joke that the NBA is and their defensive scheme. A lot of these teams. I mean, it's actually pathetic. Me and Sir Isaac Newton's retarded ancestor, because of incest, could literally be the 2 best. We could be the best coaching staff of NBA history. And I'm talking about the one that they killed in the womb, that they shoved the coat hanger up their vagina and fished out of their pussy. I'm talking about that one. Me and that thing could be the best coaching staff in NBA history, I believe. And if you want to know what I'm talking about, you can email me and ask me if you want to know. Just go watch the film. Go watch the Knicks and the Pacers. I mean, it's laughable that the highest paid professional basketball players in the world are so bad at playing defense, and they don't even know it. So I'm not going to talk about it because I want to see if they can do that for my entire life. I might change my mind, but it's actually laughable to sit there and watch a basketball game and try to process. I kind of zone out sometimes because I feel like I'm losing my fucking brain. And if you think I'm just oh my God. I was just about to go out on a rant about how insane I was a year and a half ago. You don't want to hear that fucking... You don't want to hear that Jared Smith bets. You don't want to know why the BetMGM network picked you to talk about sports all day? It's because you have a Discord, dude. A very full and transparent Discord where you have probably a couple hundred fucking very novice sports gamblers who are trying to learn, and who probably a lot of them live in states where the only thing that's legal is Prize Picks and Underdog. So they're just there looking for knowledge on players. So when you have a Discord of 1,000 people who kind of know a little bit about sports and talk about players all the time, what the fuck are you doing for the BetMGM network, which is funded by BetMGM Sportsbook pays your paycheck, bro. They literally give you money every week. Why does the BetMGM Sportsbook, who funds the BetMGM Network television show channel, why are they big fans of you talking about people all day and having a Discord for everybody? Are you fucking thick in the head? They picked you, bro. And you actually think you're doing a service to society, to humanity. They literally picked you to fucking talk about people all day and get people to spend money because they think you're a fucking know-it-all. You want to know what's great? They don't know that you are a know-it-all. They don't know that. I'm just kidding. Obviously, they know. I'm just kidding because you're not. Fucking dipshit. I think you all should just... You're all just having orgies with each other on Liv Moods' Premium X, where she sells bets and premium content. You're all just having sex with each other. I know that for a fact. That's the only kind of content that people would pay for, obviously. In the future, is what I'm saying. I'm saying that once they hear this podcast and they start doing this live betting concept for the NBA, they're not going to need you. So you're going to probably not going to be able to feed your husband. Tough times are coming for you, lady. Anyways, so when there's so many possessions in the NBA and there's such abysmal defense, I know it's pretty crazy to imagine just doing that every single time the team scores 80 points first, 90 points first, 100 points first in every single game in the future. But those are the numbers. And I started doing them from last year or 2 years ago, and I just kind of stopped. And I'm going to do the first half of the season privately. And then I'll release the numbers and the profit from the first half of the season, or the first 40% of the season. And then I will, after the holidays, I will release that information come the new year of 2026 in a couple months here. And then that's kind of going to be the way that goes. But another thing that I just started doing the math on recently, that would be when we're talking about, so the previous 80, 90, and 100 point NBA live betting concepts are for the full game of MONEYLINE, the full game. I didn't talk about that previously, but I figured I'd mention that now, considering obviously it's the full game because of the 80, 90, 100 points, but because of the fact that I just didn't mention it because I didn't really feel the need to, but now I do because and I believe I changed the names of the folders, and I'm going to include the 80, 90, and 100 point live betting concepts in the description of this episode, but I'm not going to include the NFL live betting concepts or the NHL ones because those are off limits. I would not recommend doing those two sports or the MLB ever. The only thing that I would ever consider spending my time on in the future, aside from basketball, would be if they ever implement the electronic strike zone in the MLB, which is a big if. I mean, just remove a lot of the inconsistencies in losses and wins. It's just inconsistent. It's really kind of maddening when you know what you know. If you listen to my podcast, that would be the point. To these people, it's not maddening, but that's maddening to me. So whatever. But so aside from the 80, 90, and 100 point concepts, there's another thing that I was doing the math on, and I will do that in episode 171. I will include so instead of the full game money line, when you're watching these live games for the NBA and you click on each game, you can look at the first half spread, the first half money line, and the first half total, which is completely separate from the full game. So you can bet on a team to win the first half if they score 50 points first. So when they score, whichever team scores 50 points first, and if I was didn't give a shit, I would just be talking off the cuff. But I know for a fact that this is the most consistently profitable long-term form of gambling in all of human history. And it's the NBA because of all the balling going on. Even if there's not that much balling going on in the future, like decades in the future, it's still going to be applicable because of all the possessions. It's just not feasible. There's too many points scored. There's too many scoring opportunities. When you turn the ball over on offense, how many times are you going to get the ball back? How many times are you going to be able to score points in the remaining game? Turnovers are not that big of a deal in the NBA compared to the NFL, compared to the NHL. When you're looking at the NHL, the puck is floating on the ice, and it's literally very difficult to maintain full possession of the puck. So the puck is floating all over the place. That doesn't happen in football and baseball and basketball, where the thing that you are trying to score with is very difficult to possess because you're on ice. When you turn the ball over in basketball, the other team can score 0 points, 1 point, 2 points, 3 points, or 4 points. And then you get the ball back. And then they get the ball back. The average field goal percentage, the average 2-point field goal percentage is I think it's 44%, ironically. Gotcha. I'm pretty sure this is, yeah, whatever. I'm not going to do that bit. You know who doesn't need rent money? Africans. They just own. This is my personal favorite one. If you listen to my entire podcast, specifically the most 3 recent episodes, you'll really love this one. Me getting a job at this point is basically just stealing from the local economy. Which I'm not going to do. I mean, I might be forced to, but I think I have a lot of faith that I will be able to get that done if that's what's needed for me to get done. Ain't that right, Lord? And if not, then I'll get it done in a timely manner when I get it done. But stealing from the local economy is not something I want to do anymore. I don't want to do that ever again. I'm trying to give back to the people. So, no, you cannot do these live betting concepts legally in the state of Wisconsin, but that's because of the fact that it's so consistently profitable long term. They don't want this shit to be legalized yet. They want people to get hooked to prize picks and underdogs and be know-it-all stat addicts who are addicted to point totals, player props. Don't ever do that shit ever. Over under on passing yards. You know how many passing yards you can throw in a game? You can throw 0 or you can throw 500. Don't do over unders on that kind of shit. It's so stupid. If you're ever going to do prize picks or underdogs, this is what I highly recommend if you ever do this, which I don't recommend doing ever. But I would highly recommend only doing, which I don't recommend doing at all ever. But if you're going to, when you're looking at player props in the NFL, this is the only thing that I would ever recommend putting my stamp of approval on for prize picks and underdogs. And that would be over quarterback rushing yards, depending on the situation and the defense, because even when a quarterback gets sacked in the NFL, they don't receive negative rushing yards on the stat sheet. Did you know that? So when a quarterback is sacked 6 times and he actually loses, you lose yards on the play because let's say it's 2nd and 10 and you get sacked and you lose 6 yards. That's not negative rushing yards on the stat sheet. There's no negative rushing yards for a quarterback unless the quarterback crosses the line of scrimmage and then goes behind the line of scrimmage and loses yards after crossing the line of scrimmage, which never happens ever. So you can get sacked 6 times and have 0 negative rushing yards on the stat sheet as a quarterback because sacks don't apply to rushing yards in a negative way. So that would be the only thing that I would recommend if you're ever going to do that, which I never recommend doing ever. But I thought that was a really good one. Oh, I finally won pick 3 the other day. I won a pick 3 at the Quick Trip. But here's the trick. When I was buying, this is what happened. I'm not even joking to do it a bit. When I was there and I bought the 2 pick 3s, I actually used my you have to use, when you're buying lottery tickets, you have to use cash, right? So even if you have you're buying food with a card, like a credit card or an EBT card, you can still have a cash purchase connected with the EBT card, which is what I used. I've used my credit card before, but it doesn't really work. EBT was the first time I've ever done this before. I've only done this twice with a credit card, and it didn't work with the cash purchase that I used for the pick 3 or the Powerball. But I paid cash for the 2 pick 3s, and I used my EBT card for the food that I was using, my food stamps. And I actually, because you cannot do it separately. You can't. It doesn't work. It's never worked for me. But if you connect the 2 purchases, if you have the EBT food stamp card connected with the cash purchase of a pick 3 or a Powerball, hopefully, then you're gonna win. More likely. That's what happened. So if you're itching for some luck, then take a walk to the local lottery retailer provider and do that. And if you don't have the necessary means, I would wait a little bit. But what's really crazy is the first half money line, not the live full game money line. It's the live first half money line. It's different. So when you're looking at these NBA games, when they're happening live on a live sports book online, you go and I don't know, some sports books are different. They should really have sections where you can look at the live first quarter, for each game in the live, because they show each game, but they show the full game total, the full game spread, and the full game money line. They need to have a section where they show the first quarter spread for each game and each team while it's happening, which I do not recommend doing the first quarter. Like, let's say a team scores 25 points first in the first quarter and you want to bet on them to win the first quarter money line. I would not do that ever. I would not do that in the third quarter ever either, because of substitutions coming off of the bench and the resting scenarios and situations happening at the end of the first quarter and the end of the the end of the first quarter and the end of the third quarter. They're going to be resting the starters. So do not ever, ever, ever bet on a team to win the first quarter money line or the third quarter money line. Ever. I've started doing the numbers for the first half money line. So when a team scores 50 points first in the first half, you live bet the first half money line. So you live bet on that team to beat the other team in the first half. And the numbers and the figures and the profit it's I haven't finished the graph and the figures yet, and I will do that as soon as possible, but it's the off season, so I'm kind of chilling and kicking back, you know? It's the off season. I might buy a second house where I can go fishing, like a cabin up at the lake. And basically, but no. I would just do, I'm just doing 50 right now. I'm not doing any other point totals for the first half money line. But that's kind of going to be the way that betting works for me. And for you, if you want to make money consistently long term, which is what is kind of the point here. It's kind of why I saw the light. Part of the reason, I believe. It's the most important deal in all of human history for gambling. Do you think fucking bozos are going to go play blackjack? I mean, for real, all jokes aside, do you think they're going to go to a casino and put $1,000 down on blackjack consistently long term? Vegas is going to die, John Taffer. I'm sorry, man. John Taffer's been working his ass off to save Vegas ever since COVID started. And in a couple centuries, nobody's going to go there because it's going to be underwater. And nobody wants to go to Vegas to play blackjack and get an STD. But yeah. The politicians are very irresponsible for legalizing underdog and prize picks. Basically, I guess the notion was that it's the same thing as daily fantasy, like FanDuel daily fantasy, which is like you pick 6 players and you put money, because it's you pick 2 player props over under on that. But it's sports wagering. It's sports betting. Daily fantasy is not sports betting, and player props are the most inconsistently profitable long-term form of sports gambling. It's what? So they legalized it because they thought it would be less addictive and or more profitable, or what? I mean, when the fucking dude who literally thought, it was like 14 months, maybe 15, ironically. I believe it was 15 months ago. What is it, August? So March of last year, when I started the podcast, I'm not joking and doing bit. This is what I refer, when I used to curse out God all the time, when I refer to the pussy coma God. I literally thought that a different version of myself was in a coma, in a different world, the light, where it's real, because of the hallucinating every single human experience and interaction that I have ever since the car accident, making me feel like I'm in hell, and hallucinating everything that I come in contact with and look at, which doesn't happen to anybody. I'd be tired all the time. I'd be sleeping all the time because I hear it's happening all the time. So the human brain can't do that to itself for 4 years without experiencing a little bit of fatigue, which I don't have. Not really. I sleep normally. I actually don't sleep sometimes than I should. But when it comes to, God damn it, when it comes to the guy who literally thought that the person who was in a coma due to me being in a hospital, like the hospital in the light, and literally every time I meditated, my entire body would go numb. This is all God fucking with me to make you all look retarded. All you fucking professionals. 15 months ago, I thought that person in the coma was the reason he was controlling everybody. And that's why they were all reading my mind and responding to my thoughts all the time, because he was actually controlling them. Mind control, brainwash, like the person in the government who thought that. No, I was hallucinating all of it. I literally thought that dude was fucking with me for years. And I just started paying attention to sports again not even a year ago. I say this because it's almost laughable. It's kind of pathetic to be you. But no, I literally genuinely believe that sports books are juicing up these other 3 sports live money line odds because they can't possibly do it in the NBA, because there's too many points scored, there's too much balling going on, and there's too many possessions and too many points scored. When a team is even when a team is down by 16, the defense is so abysmal on almost all these teams that they can score so easily. So the sports books cannot possibly value a 16-point lead as much as they maybe could in the past, or they want to. So they do it in these other sports. I think they're actually juicing up the money line before the games as well. Because when the Celtics are a 16.5 point favorite against the Toronto Raptors, for that game, it literally says minus 16.50. So it's literally the same. They're just matching the spread. Arya, stay. And what I mean by matching the spread is they're 16.5 point favorites in this specific game that I'm referring to. 16.5 point favorites. And the money line for the Celtics to win before the game is minus 1650 or 1685, something like that. So it's basically, I don't know what a 16.5 point favorite in the NBA was valued at in terms of a money line. Obviously, it depends on how much money is coming in from the public, but they have to set the line at a certain number, an amount, and it's usually, when it's 12.5, it's usually kind of the same in terms of the money line. It'd be minus 1,200. But 5-10 years ago, what was that spread valued at on the money line before the game? Because the NBA has changed. The game has changed forever. They all talk about it. They all love it. They changed the game forever, man. But yeah, no, I would never do quarter live money line betting ever in the NBA. I would just do the first half, which I'm going to release the numbers for that as well soon on the next episode when I finish up those numbers and figures. I might take a little bit, I might not. It depends on what I'm doing or what I'm not doing, or if I blow my brains out. Because some people don't like when like a dude who used to use a bunch of drugs wants to babysit their children all of a sudden. Anyways. Yeah. I'm trying to think if there's anything that I need to finish up before I finish this episode up in terms of the thought process. I kind of went over everything that I wanted to go over. The NBA is foolproof because of that reason, because of the points, in terms of when a team scores a point total first. It's kind of bizarre. I started doing the numbers on 110, 120, 130, 140, 150, but almost every single one of those games is going to be shut down because I mean, not every single game. A lot of these games are blowouts. So they shut down the live money line when the lead is at a big enough point, when they're up by like 35. So that's why you got to kind of pull the trigger right away, you know? You got to pull the trigger right away on these. But when it comes to the fact that, yeah, it really is kind of bizarre that the other three are. I truly believe, without a doubt in my mind, heart, body, soul, and spirit, that these sports books are juicing up these other sports live money lines because they can. It's more visually appealing, or they can just do that because of quote unquote rule changes, even though there's not really any, or they can't do it in the NBA. There's too many possessions and too much scoring, too many points. They cannot, because in the NFL, like when a team reaches 17 points first and they're up by 10, they're literally like, you literally got to risk like 50 units to win one. They're minus 5,000. And then next year or 2 years, what is it going to be? Or is it, they just move it, they just round it up to make it more visually appealing, is what I believe as well. Because it's probably more like 4,600. Just do it to 5. Who cares? Nobody cares. Who cares? Just do it to 5, because we cannot do it in the NBA because there's too many points. They can do it in the NFL because a team could turn the ball over, or the team that has the ball has a really good run game. But the team that has a really good run game could also fumble the ball, and the other team could score a touchdown. And then they're down by 3 with however many points. So a 10-point lead in the NFL is not as commanding as even a 10-point lead in the NBA because of how many possessions there are. I know it's pretty crazy and unfathomable to imagine, but here's what, if you want to do this in your free time, this will help you. If you go through and you look at my figures that I include again, and I say again like that is because I don't like including bets or figures more than once unless because it's basically like, imagine if I put a betting episode out and I say do this bet, and then I put it out again and you see it a third time. It's like, all right, do you want me to put it out, do it once, or what are you fucking doing? I only put it out multiple times on each platform that I release the podcast episode on. But if in your free time, if you want to go through, go click on the Cleveland Cavaliers schedule last season, the 2024 season. Start at the beginning of the season, and you go all the way to January 1st, 2025, and you click on the first game where they play a non-playoff team, which would be, I'm going to look it up right now. Cleveland Cavalier, yeah. Use Basketball Reference if you want, if you have a laptop or a desk or a monitor. Use Basketball Reference. And this is basically the website for everything basketball. Just do Cleveland Cavaliers. Go to the team. Scroll down to the 2024, 2025 team. That would be the team that was 64-18. That was just last year. And you do this for every single team if you want to see. Because when you do this for every single team, for every single game, you realize eventually at the end of it, wow, this is foolproof. You literally realize, because you look at, oh, this team scored 80 points first. How many points are they up by? And then you scroll down. Did they win the game? Oh, okay. How many did they win by? Oh, okay. So the game kind of flows in this direction. Then you do it for 90. No, excuse me. What I did was I did Cleveland Cavaliers at 80 points, and then I did them versus every non-playoff team until the new year, and then I did the Boston Celtics at 80 points versus every non-playoff team until the new year, and then I did the New York Knicks at 80 points, and then I just went through every team, and you learn that I'm not lying about the numbers and the figures. One, you learn that. Two, you learn that, oh, wow, an 8-point lead is probably only about 8 units, give or take. Minus 800, not minus 4,000. Even if there's 4 minutes left, 2 minutes left. 2 minutes left, it's probably closer to 1,600. But that's how many points can be scored in the NBA. It doesn't happen that often, but it happens enough. The comebacks happen enough to where they can't shut down these games until it's like a 40-point lead. And they can't juice up an 8-point lead with 4 minutes left because the other team can score 2 threes and be down by 2 in a minute. It's foolproof. Go through every game and look at them. I'm not joking or lying. I'm not trying to sell bets in the future. Jesus knows that already. Where do you think deja vu comes from? Your fucking head? Go talk to God. Jesus, fuck. Amen. God bless. I'm done.